Hey, Jayne.
Hello.
Hi, Jayne.
How are you doing
Okay.
today? Thanks for being on the show with us.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Not bad. Always excited to be talking with awesome people in the Sanity community. So I appreciate you being on with us.
Well, I'm looking forward to today. Yeah.
And of course,
Awesome.
shout out to the bunny ears on the chair. I love it. Jayne and I actually realized that we both have two bunnies.
And two cats.
So bunnies are
Yes.
the common thread.
All right. So Jayne, can you give us a little bit of history on who you are and what do you do in the grand scheme of things here?
Yeah, sure. If you see me looking up to my left, that's because I have my notes, because sometimes I forget who I am apparently. So you need to write things down. I live in the Netherlands, in a city just north of Amsterdam called Zaandam. So it's I see a lot of Dutch people here as well, so that's nice. And I'm working at a company called Confrere since 2018, where I'm a software engineer. But I'm mainly doing front-end things and Sanity. So Confrere is a startup based mostly in Norway, just as Sanity is. And we make video conferencing software for doctor-patient conferencing, and it's in the browser, so a lot of WebRTC things. My history: I've been a web developer for about 15 years now, just a little under 15 years, and worked at different companies, as you can imagine, agencies, big techs like Booking.com. And then I organized conferences for Google. I had a meetup for a few years, and I talk a lot at conferences about all sorts of things. So that's me in short. Yeah.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, so 15 years is that's actually, I'm in my 15th year of web development. So what have you seen kind of come and go, especially in the past decade? I'm always curious about perspectives, from over time of front-end development, but especially just kind of the ecosystem as a whole.
Lots of things. People have been complaining a lot about Internet Explorer 11 finally being killed, but I remember having to program for Netscape Navigator or Internet Explorer 5.5 for Mac. So those were fun times. But yeah, I saw jQuery come and never go away, basically.
I'm pretty sure I checked recently, and jQuery is still on 60 or 70% of websites out there.
Yeah, people complain a lot, but I think almost everyone has jQuery somewhere, but they don't know it. If you look at your package log file somewhere, there must be a jQuery hidden. So yeah, I've seen quite a lot. Yeah.
I mean, all these things, I haven't been in tech for 15 years, so this is all very interesting. I think I've been almost 4 years, but yeah. So in your 15 years, in your journey in tech, how did you find Sanity?
How did I find Sanity? So the CPO of Confrere, Ida Allen, she used to work with Knut, who is your head of DevRel.
Yeah.
And when I was visiting my team in Oslo back in January 2019, I think it was, Ida set up a meeting with Knut where he showed this brand new CMS called Sanity, because I had been complaining since I started at Confrere about that we needed a CMS. So he came to our office and gave us a tour and explained how structured content and headless CMS could work for us. Sadly, we were just 6 or 7 people at the time, so our team shifted priorities quite often. But we decided probably a year or something later to build a CMS, which was for me way too late. I'll explain about that later as well. decided to use a CMS for the website, and Sanity was a great choice and still is. So that's how we got there. Yeah.
Right on. So using Sanity, we've seen you use it in the contributions that you made in the community. How has it helped? How has it, like, what have you learned along the way? But how do you use Sanity?
So yeah, like you saw, we use it at Confrere for the website, and back then when I started, it was a Gatsby site with Markdown pages and React components, and all the content was in the website, and we didn't want to rebuild the entire website, so we decided to use Sanity as a small CMS first for just porting over all our Markdown pages one by one into one article document, basically.
Okay.
And that's how I started, and then we grew and grew. So that's how I've been using Sanity, is kind of like building it up from out of this already existing website. It's still not, by the way, entirely in Sanity. There's some weird pages that I just don't want to port. I'm just trying to convince people to kill those pages instead. So that's one of the things. And the other thing is I recently joined a volunteering group for Women's March Netherlands, and they needed a website, and they wanted to hire a company that was going to be very expensive. And I said, I can do this in a few days. So I used one of the starters with, I think it was with the Next.js starter thing to make the website. And yeah, it was just a few hours here and there, and the website was up and running.
That's amazing.
So yeah. Out of curiosity on the moving it over kind of piece by piece, it's something that we actually don't talk about that much, is that you can move things, and not just in Sanity, but kind of in this like new ecosystem world that we live in, like little bit at a time. Can you speak at all to, like, obviously the pages that you want to kill, that's, we don't have to talk about that, but like what kind of methodology you use to kind of move all that over?
So what I started out was kind of mapping what we had. The easiest one was, of course, what I just said, the Markdown pages. And so what I started out with was, I'm just trying to think of what to answer about methodology. Do you have a...
Just like, did you do it like the big chunk that you've already got over there all at once, or was that even a gradual process?
That was a gradual process. So I started with one article, basically. So I started with an article that was almost never viewed, just to make sure that everything works fine. And I even didn't use Gatsby clouds in the beginning. So the deployment was not through Gatsby cloud. That's what I also added on later. So it was article by article, and then at one point it was chunks of articles at the same time. And then I just asked someone to help me with that while I was building other things. So we also after that I started doing the home pages, because that's one thing that we wanted to change often. So things that we wanted to change often, we decided, like, these are the things that we want to move into Sanity as soon as possible. So at one point we had still some Markdown pages left that we still needed to port over, and then also some other pages here and there. So it was a little bit of a mess in the beginning with mixed content, but it was also it's also a good way for me to learn about Sanity, to just grab things here and there to see if I can make this. Yeah. So far,
I love
works.
that. Like you got to take first a page that had like nothing important, and then it was like, okay, now we have to do like the things that we want to change regularly. So I like that it went from like 0 to 60 very, very quickly there.
Yes.
So let's talk about the Confrere website. So you mentioned in the description of it, or actually you've got a screenshot in the description on the community site about localization. Can you walk us through, like, A, why is that important, and why is that important for Confrere, but also like how you went about it? So
what you just said a moment ago about localization is true for most part. So at least how I see it. So for me, localization, it's a lot of people see it mainly as translations, but it's so Confrere, we care. The whole thing is doctor-patient conversation, so we have a lot of stuff about privacy and privacy laws and privacy regulations and GDPR, HIPAA, all those kind of things, and every country has different rules and different regulations. So for us, it was very important that we couldn't just like translate every article that we have, because we don't want to talk about HIPAA for our German customers, because they already have so much bureaucracy over there. So we just want to talk about the things that are important for them. So one-on-one translations was not the thing that we wanted to do for most part of it. And then also we, which I want to show later as well, we have a tour page where we also have sort of fake customers on that tour page with illustrations as avatars. And those customers, we wanted to translate the names of them as well, localize them, so that he was called Gustavo, our main customer, and we have them now. I think he's called Pico Paio or something in Italian. We have our translators decided what his name should be, so that's sort of a better way to make it feel more like a website made for them instead of something translated from English.
Honestly, like that's blowing my mind a little bit right now, because what I said at the beginning, right, about like, oh, you want to localize and make it like, that might have been a little lip service. I just have always kind of thought of it as like translating your site in the best way possible. But like, yeah, if you have like a little avatar, you probably want it to make the most sense to the region that it's in. That makes a lot of sense. That's super cool.
Yeah, and then also, of course, sorry?
Should we look at the project?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let me just. Yes, we can share that screen, I think. I'll just open the website itself.
Perfect.
Let me just make it huge. It's a little bit too big. Shall I zoom in? This might make more sense. Sure. So this is the website itself. I don't see myself or you anymore, but that's okay. You know what? I'll just move you over here. So if you do some, it's always like this, right?
Yep.
Totally there you are.
There it is.
Yes. So this is our homepage. And here on the top, we have our language picker, where we have the different languages, where you can switch them easily to, well, we have some Dutch people here, so it all switch fairly simple, very quickly. Sorry. So all of this is currently in Sanity, except for footer things that I still need to move, and the navigation, which I still need to move, things like that. But all the content is in Sanity right now. And what I wanted to show you here is this tour page. This is one of the pages that we have for all of our for all the customers for all the languages that we have. Let's see. So here we have this Gustavo person as well. And if we would change him into Italian, because now he's Pinco Palino, he's called here. I'm not sure where they got that, but yes. So this is one of the things that we've done here.
So is there a new avatar for every language?
So I think
is there a new Pinko for every language?
I think some of them have changed it into just kept it Gustavo because it made sense for them. I actually don't really know he's just called Gustavo in Finnish, but I think he's called Gustav in German, and there's names, slight changes here and there, but yeah.
It's one of my favorite things about a content platform that you can give to an editor is that you go on a stream like this and you're just like, yeah, I actually don't know if they've used it like in all these ways, because I don't have to touch it anymore. It's just right in the platform.
Yeah. So what else can I show you? Well, I think it's maybe I can just go into Sanity for this.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll zoom in for this as well. So this is the desk is constantly changing, which is great. That's possible. So I think last week it looked completely different, and then I thought, let's clean this up because I have to do a live show where I show everything, which our content editors were very happy that I cleaned it up. So that was also a plus. So we have translations and localization in multiple different ways. So I think what I want to show first is the tour page, which is one of our special pages. And special pages, what we call, it's basically sort of singletons. They're all one-off pages that we have in almost all languages. Mm-hmm. So here you click on tour page, and then you get the list of all the different languages. We decided to do it like this and not in the way that we, not using the React, I think it's called React Initialization plugin or something like that. Mm-hmm. Because we didn't want to set a base language. We want to be able to remove, for example, English if we want to. So we kind of just add languages and can remove them as we go. So this is our English version of it, where basically you select. The only reason why I still have this language selector is it makes the flag look differently here.
That's a
no, that's not true. It also does the routing. So the language that you select also changes the route at the top to, it says es.tour. I'm not sure how big it is, but it depends on the language what the route is for these special pages. The tour, we wanted to have them all the same, so we didn't want to have the content editors be able to add content blocks to them. We have them with the landing pages, but the tour, we just want to have them all exactly the same so that we don't skip things. Mm-hmm. So here you can, let me see where it was. I think the dashboard is where you, yes, here you select an organization and a visitor, which are fake organizations and are fake visitors. So our Gustavo here, if you click on this link, will then go to this, where we have slightly different version of localization. So the reason why we have a different localization in this recurring content bit, that's where we have them all, like the placeholder users is what we call them, is because we want to be able to just say, I want Gustavo here, and then they don't have to worry about which version of Gustavo it should be, if it should be the English one or the German one. So we have the English Gustavo here, and all the translations of his name are just below this. In Swedish, he's called Peter. That's interesting.
Peter.
So this is, I think, the local string example that is on the somewhere on inside of the documentation. Mm-hmm. And here you can give him a name. There's a username because we sometimes the way the URL structure of Confrere works is you have the name of the organization, like in this case it's onlinecounseling.confrere.com, and then / your username. So if we want to build a user, then we can have this username, which we can also then translate. I don't think these are translated yet. No, we still need to translate these people, but in theory, we can also translate the usernames, and these will always fall back to English if there's nothing there.
That's really interesting that you've got that overall localization for a page, but then you're also able to localize the chunks when you're using references there, and then you can bring that in, and so like it's kind of a macro versus micro, and you're doing both, which I always kind of figured you do one or the other.
Yeah, I was I didn't really know if I wanted to do it like that, but it kind of made sense for me here. Mostly because, yeah, in the larger pages, yeah, you don't want to do it like this, because then you will have to have it like, oh, this one is better. You'll have to have a sort of a way to do those translations for these kind of sections as well, and which is going to be a very long list, especially like we have about 10 different languages, and then so that list is extremely long if you want to do that for every field. But then doing it for those users that you just want to set up once and don't want to worry about later, that's, if you want to do it like this, then you have to reference to the specific language, which is also then frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. So we do actually have a question from chat, which is, how do you deal with the routing? Did you consider translating the slugs as well?
Not for these pages. So these pages we have not considered. We have not figured out a good solution for that. But we have a third way of localization for all our other pages that are not our special pages, and that is in our routing. We actually have routes by language even. We have these slugs, which are not really slugs, but because it came back from our original website, which has multiple levels, we decided to do this, and then the language. And here you can do whatever you want with the slug. So you can make this a German slug as well, which we will do eventually. And then based on the language and the slug, this full URL will be generated. So if you go to Norwegian, it will be NO. If you go to Italian, it will be IT. But then if you, which one was this? I'm just going to unpublish it or discard the changes. It's German.
Better safe than sorry.
Yes. So for example, this use cases physicians, if you can see that we have them in a lot of different languages. And if you select the German one, the combination of the two will say this is a duplicate. So you cannot have two German physician use cases.
Now, is that a custom validation rule that you've set up, or is that something else?
Yes. So this is a custom validation rule, which is I think I just copied this from the documentation as well and slightly altered it. So there's a thing that I'm still not really sure how to do, which is I have this thing that I created called Translate the Documents. And if you click on it, you will, styling is a little bit off, but you will see all the different translated versions of this document. But it's based on this slug. So if you would localize this slug, this will not work anymore. So I'm kind of still trying to figure out how this works, but I'm probably going to change it altogether because I've changed a lot of things already. But this is, it's working really well for us right now that we don't need to translate the slug.
Nice. That's kind of a clever solution to it, yeah.
Thanks. There's one more page that I wanted to show you about how we do localization as well. This is our pricing page. So our pricing page, you can maybe understand that this, this is also part of localization. So we have, based on the language, we select which currency to use and which even the plan you can change. So if you have a different price plan for a different currency, you would be able to do it. And that's what we have a pages here that is called pricing pages, where you select the currency and you select the plans that go with this very specific page. And if you would want to, you can add new plans for a specific language. And then we have this currency for every plan. I have an ID that you don't change. I need to hide this still, but that's a to-do.
Totally.
Yeah, yes.
You get the best editor experience, and then you kind of take those little powers away. They don't want to touch. Don't touch this, please.
Don't change it. No. And then if they do change it, I'm like, yes. Well, I asked.
There's a lot of little details that go in with localization. Like, I mean, the pricing seems kind of obvious, but I would have never thought of that. So, like, was there like a little thing that the team was like, oh, we almost forgot to do this part?
So I think there's still some things that we forgot to do. So there's one thing that I still need to do, and that is localization should not be based on language. Because we have our German pages, for example, where we talk a lot about by the way, if you work on different languages, you start to learn words and know what things are, even though it doesn't make any sense. So we have a lot about GDPR here, which is called DSGVO in German, which makes a lot of sense for our German customers. And there's a lot of things specifically for Germany. But German is also being spoken in Switzerland, for example. And if we want to go to Switzerland, we don't really want to have these pages. So then we need to change it based on region as well. So what we want to do eventually is instead of having /de, we want to have /de/de for the German pages, or /de/ch, I'm thinking, for Swiss pages. So that's one of the localization things that we still need to work with.
Yeah.
And the same goes the same goes the other way around. Like, we have English pages, but those are, is it American English? Is it British English? Basically, it's everything right now. But if we would do American English, then we should also have American Spanish, because Spanish is not always European Spanish, even though it's for us European Spanish right now. Yeah.
I think that kind of goes to like one of my big takeaways of today is going to be like, again, localization is not translation. Translation is a part of it, but it's not the only piece of it. Like, localization is the location that you're in and the information that is important to that location.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. So I also want to talk a little bit before we let you go on all this about the Women's March site, and also what's going on with, there's a charting schema inside of the community site as well. If you go to Jayne's profile on the community, sanity.io/community, you can see there is an awesome charting plugin, and I'm kind of curious to hear more about that too.
Yeah, so I'm actually thinking of changing it into a real plugin so that you can just use it. It's on my backlog.
Sure.
So I can show you here how it looks like. So this is our data visualization bit, where we have different kind of bar charts. So we have horizontal bar charts that are looking a little bit like this. So these bar charts are completely accessible for users who use a screen reader or are other tools that actually read HTML, because the whole charts are actually lists, ULLI lists, which has a lot of hidden. Let's see if I can show you here as well. Those are a lot of errors. Don't look at the errors.
Oh no, never look at the errors.
No,
not even
no.
the warnings.
So this bar chart is basically so this list here, and that list has text that we can see, and then also text that we don't see, which show up when you hover over it. But it also has where is it? Something that's, of course, broken when I want to show it.
Oh, wait.
Of course, yes. So I'll explain it then. So it has officially, I think it does work in the website, but I probably didn't remake it into Sanity as well. So it has a visually hidden text. So every bar itself can be read out loud separately. So if you would step through it, then it would say, I think in this case, it would say 21 respondents replied with that. At least it's a combination of this over 5 video appointments, this title, and this text here. And we made that using...
Right on.
So the text would be of the PCPs who have had over 5 video appointments, X%, which would be 7 respondents, said that video appointments were suitable for follow-ups with patients on sick leave. So I have a long description for the people who, if they want to change this, how they can use these variables that we have. And this is the whole schema. Basically, is the name of it, which is only being used so you can reference. Then I've decided to use the actual naming that you want to have in data visualization, but then explain what those namings are. So we have the skill and then the ticks on the skill, which is what you see in the bottom here. And then you have a legend. That's the top, what you saw. And then the series, which are the groups of bars, and each bar has then points that has a value and description, and then you can override a certain color. So if you want this to be green instead of another color, they also show this green here. And then if you go to the preview, then that bar would be green specifically, but otherwise it would follow the legend colors. So it was one or the other.
Yeah, because at that point you could specify a color to make it like really stand out. Like, this is the data point we want you to see.
Yes, exactly.
Very cool.
Or how we did it, for example, here, we have only one bar, and then you can, instead of having a legend, you can just give the color per point.
Mm-hmm.
So then if you want to show like this is bad, but this is good or something, then you do it like that. And then we also have a vertical bar chart, which I think I added. I'm not sure if I added all of them, but I think I added the horizontal bar chart only. But we also have this vertical bar chart, which is, I think, less of a use case than the horizontal ones because they're slightly more aligned to certain designs that we have. But I was thinking the horizontal bar chart is probably something that is used the most. So that's why I added that one.
Very cool. And yeah, that's there's a whole snippet and multi-file snippet over on Jayne's profile on sanity.io/community. So be sure to check that out.
Yeah. So, and by the way, you can add, I've made them as a reference, and then you can, ooh, that's weird. Uh-oh. This is, okay. I'll look at that later. And you can add them as a part of the block. So you can just search one of the charts, and then you can add them just in the middle of your, in the middle of it. Let me discard this. I'm sorry that I'm giving you those errors. It's
yeah.
Oh.
It's
who amongst us hasn't had an error, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's because I'm using an outdated version of Firefox, I think.
Well, better that than some other browsers, to be honest. So I'm curious. Why did you choose to put these things up on the community site? Why are you sharing these things?
Well, I've like the community. I'm just gonna. Is it okay if I stop sharing my screen, because then I can look at you all again. There it is. So basically, why I do it is because I've learned a lot from the community itself. I've been into the help section of Slack a lot, and I decided, and I've also talked a lot, helped other people there as well. And And there's a few reasons why I wanted to show it on the community page as well. First of all, I like just showing off what I made.
Sure.
Don't we all? But also I like to learn from what people have made, and I would be good if people can learn from the things I made as well. And it's great to showcase what all the possibilities are with Sanity. And there's so many different things that I've seen so far, which is great. And it's cool to take inspiration from it, or to use schemas from other people as well.
Cool. Do you have any kind of parting shots, parting wisdoms, parting code that you'd like to talk about?
Parting code.
I don't even know what that means. It just kind of came out. You know?
I'd rather not show my code. It's always messy. No. I know. I think the biggest thing about making stuff with Sanity, or actually with everything, is to just do it and go it step by step, and don't be afraid that it's not going to be perfect. Because the first version of how I made this Sanity Studio part for Confrere was extremely different from how it looks now, and it's easy to just change it all. Sometimes it was hard. I had to write a couple of migrations, which is not a lot of fun to do sometimes, but they work, so that's also great. I've also written migrations for other things that didn't work. I don't want to mention WordPress, but yeah. Just make things and try to just fail, because failing is learning. And ask for feedback from people.
And feel free to reach out in the help section of the Sanity Slack community.
Yes. And if you want to know about how I made things, you can always mention me on Slack, and I will respond to you within a few time.
just a few time. Just
yes.
Yeah. And thank you so much to your contributions in this community. They are very helpful, and I've looked at all of them, and yeah, everyone should go check them out. I like them.
Great. So Jayne, thanks for being on with us, and we're going to be moving into the after show here in a second to deal with raffles and also just kind of hang out. So we'll see you on the other side of that, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jayne.
Bye.